So I went on that site, shadowban.eu today, and I put in my name, and sure enough, it comes up and it shows that I have been shadow banned on Twitter. And this is not a surprise. For the past few months now, I've noticed a huge decline in the interactions I've had on Twitter. When I'd post stuff primarily to hashtags, it would get a fairly decent response, but within the last few months or so, it's been like nothing, right? I got absolutely nothing. And I'm like, wow, this is, I thought I would get at least one like on this or whatever. I'm like, maybe I'm just losing it. I didn't want to come out completely and say I'm been shadow banned, but that's what I suspected anyways. And, going on that site more or less confirmed it. And it's, I think the site, it seems pretty legit to me because I was putting in a bunch of people's names, on the right and then the left, and it seemed to, correlate with what you think the shadow bans would be correlated with, right? People on the right, people with right wing opinions and stuff, people who are not even saying anything racist and using derogatory language, threatening people, spreading fake information or whatever. They are all shadow banned unless you have like maybe a very very large following, and a lot of people know about you. And people like Paul Joseph Watson, I looked at him, he was okay, and a few other kind of pundits like this. But ultimately, it's mostly people on the right. And I noticed that, when I was looking through hashtags and stuff recently on Twitter, and it's like you don't see barely any right wingers on certain hashtags. All just like leftists. It's like, are you kidding me? So it's like, they must be shadow banning people like crazy, because just the amount of people that I've been seeing on Twitter even today retweeting that they've been shadow banned, it's like the scale of it is pretty immense, right? So they know they can get away with banning smaller people with a couple hundred followers like me, right? I have like 150 followers, right? And you're gonna shadow ban my account, but I was gaining a decent amount right away. Like I had an account that was like had 600 followers, and I think that one was also shadow banned because I started getting just a lot less interactions when I would post stuff on Twitter. And then over time, it got completely suspended. And for a while, I couldn't make any accounts whatsoever. Like every time I made a new account, it was like your VPN or whatever has been suspended. You can't. I tried all these different ways. I couldn't make a new one. I thought I was stuck to Gab or on Gab or whatever, which it's a good attempt, but ultimately it's like it's not that great of a site. But I had some other account that was still up, apparently is still somehow working, and then I've been using that one. And ultimately, I don't really care too much about having my stuff retweeted and all this shit. What I really do like it for is the news aspect and being subscribed or following a bunch of different people at once who are all posting things like in the here, in the now. And it seems to me like a much better way to get your news efficiently compared to going on the internet, going to a site, and then going on Reddit or whatever. Like I like the format, right? But you know I guess they're just doing this shadow ban thing, which ultimately, like I said, I think it's better. I prefer that than being completely suspended, but it's good to at least know, so I'm not wasting my time posting shit on hashtags for no fucking reason. For like, nobody's gonna see it, then yeah, I'm not gonna bother fucking doing it. So, it's good that I found this out, right? So I'm not going to be wasting my time anymore. But, ultimately, the only reason they're doing this is not to stop hate speech, it's not to stop fake news or whatever. It's because Donald Trump won in 2016 in the elections, primarily because of social media, because of Twitter. these sites like this, sites like YouTube, and this is why these are under attack right now. This is why everybody's being demonetized. This is why everybody is being shadow banned, is because they thought they had it in the bag for so long. They thought they had it bag when it comes in terms of demographics, when it comes in terms of the media and the control of the entertainment industry and the information that people get, that they overlooked YouTube. They overlooked social media and the impact that it could have with changing people's opinions, and now they understand it. Now you see why all of this is essentially happening, right? Because for probably so long now in American politics and most politics, like, people are just chosen. It was supposed to be between Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, and it wouldn't have mattered which one of these two won either way. And even if you could say Trump is a cuck now and he's following Israel or whatever, at the same time, they didn't want him to win, right? And this is why all this is happening. And really, there's not too much we can do about it. Like, there really isn't. You got to almost weather the storm. And I think sometimes calling for legislation and stuff can almost be counterproductive, because it seems like a good idea now, but it just makes us look hypocritical, because we're just calling for regulation. This is how a lot of people do see it. They're like, oh, now you don't want them to be a private business. Now you don't want to do this. But, obviously it is way more complicated than that, because a lot of these companies are massively subsidized, wouldn't exist without the government. So it's like these governments, they come in, they prop up these companies like Google, like fucking Twitter, like other companies, social media companies. They make them monopolies, and now they kind of like elbow them to do this and do that, do this and do that. And then then the people they hide behind, oh, it's a free company, it's a private business. We don't have to protect you. We don't have to do this. We don't have to do that, right? So it's like, that should be more exposed. But, people are fucking stupid. They just think subsidies are a part of the government, and they'll always exist. And, it's just a natural part of what the government does. You don't want them to stop funding technology. You want them to stop giving money to find cures for this and that. It's like okay, that's, stop favoriting certain companies and then creating monopolies that the people are now upholden to, right? So we are in a tricky situation, but at the end of the day, I think that it does get darkest before it gets bright. Sorry, this damn fucking cat. It does get darkest before it gets bright. And I think that too many people have been woken up already, and it's kind of reached that tipping point that even if you do censor all these people this time around, it's too late. Too many people, like I said, have been woken up. Too many people are not fucking being fooled anymore by the media. They're not taking them seriously, and that is a trend that is going to continue even if they start censoring pretty much everybody on Twitter, right? Because people will just start getting out and going into the streets, and when they do that, if they do censor everybody, then that is another effective way to get the message, your word out, right? If that's all you have left, talking to people in your day-to-day life, talking to your family, going out on the street, potentially even holding up a sign, and here in Canada with the immigration, people that don't know what the fuck is going on, really. Hold up a sign with a few facts saying, like, immigration is costing us this much money. You're going to spark up some conversations. A news agency might come up to you and be like, why are you holding this? You'll be, you'll be a story, and then you'll get some people talking about it within your local community, with your own community. So even if they do censor us and all this stuff, it it's too late. Like I said, too many people have been woken up, and it's just a matter of time before the culture shifts and they'll stop doing this, because they do have a business to run, and this is why they're not coming out straight up and telling people they're completely biased and they're going after conservatives and stuff, because they know if they did, that would alienate a lot of people. Just like Facebook is pretending to care about free speech right now, when all these people from CNN were trying to get them to trying to get Facebook to remove InfoWars from their site for producing fake news or something, but they're like, oh no, we believe in the spirit of freedom of speech. It's like, no, you don't. You just don't want to alienate a lot of people that use your site, which is already probably dwindling in numbers and stuff, like as we speak. Or people, they'll be like, actually, it's increased, but most people I speak to barely use Facebook. They don't. Even if its numbers have increased, they're using like the Messenger thing, right? They barely use it. So, something eventually will supplant these monopolies once the government stops helping them. And, other things will pop up eventually. I don't think we have to get too gung-ho with going in with the legislation and, all this shit. I think it's better to be patient at this point and just wait and see. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya. And sorry about the cat, too.